we're here for a restraining order. So anybody in the gallery that's not familiar with what's going on, a restraining order has been filed. This is more of just a civil matter, nothing too serious. So what will be happening is we'll have two parties here, along with witnesses, character witnesses, what have you. Evidence will be presented as well that I'll be looking over, and then I'll make a decision of whether or not the restraining order of the respondent is granted or denied. Does that sound simple enough?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Is Miss Godstone ready? Are you ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. You can go ahead and just explain your side of the story for me.
So for the past week and a half, I've been just doing my own thing, working at the pizza joint that my partner works at and owns, and just trying to get by on life. I've applied for different jobs, around the city, just to find a place that I like, just to settle down my roots. Now, for the past week, I've had out of pocket comments. I've had reminders how I'm pretty much a, what's the phrasing that I can use? A handful, and I'm annoying, especially during job interviews that I have took. He has reminded his employer that basically I'm just annoying and I'm just a handful, and that I shouldn't work there because he doesn't want me to work there, because he wants my partner to work there only. Not only that, he's been showing up at jobs just to check in on me, which isn't needed because I'm well situated with the city by now. And he will show up at other places that I am just to check in, even though I have asked him to leave me alone and not to talk to me. He still persists on coming up to me and then saying I am an issue and I am basically causing problems because of I don't want to talk to them. But not only that, it's going to the point that he's threatening me with empty threats that I'm not liable to say in court, but it's just one of them open-ended statements that it's just getting to the point that I am going to end up moving cities
So,
if he does not stop.
so I'm going to interrupt you right there. So, when you talk about empty threats, are there any specific empty threats that you have experienced?
He says, yes, he says he knows the creator of the world, and that if I don't talk to him, he's pretty much going to talk to the big man in the clouds.
Has he said that more than once, or is that the only time he's said that?
So he threatened that today, and he also told me that he would talk to God's little servants as well before now.
Now, was
And
this
I
a,
just wanted to,
you wanted to what?
pardon?
No, go ahead. You wanted to what?
I just want him to leave me alone. Like,
Okay.
I'm not disputing his character. I'm not disputing that he's a good guy or a bad guy. I'm not here for any of that. I just want him to leave me alone. And I want something in writing in order for him to leave me alone because I have had enough. I'm at my wit's end and I'm done with it.
So, did he say that over in person? Did he say that over email? Did he say that
He said it
text
in
message?
person, and he said it to one of my character witnesses that he was going to do it as I walked away because I didn't want to talk to him.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, that's it. I do have evidence to show that if he doesn't get what his way in my workplace, so e.g. a no pets policy that he was warned about, that he's not allowed his dog, he will then email my partner, who is the head of the business, and he will tell me that he's emailing him in city, and he will then go ahead and email my partner in order to try and get his own way, which backfired, by the way.
I'd like to see that.
Yes, Your Honor, I can send you a my body cam footage actually, if you would like.
Yes,
I
please.
have a few different footages. I can also send. Oh no, I can't send that. My boss at a later date filled me in with an email that he was sent, and I asked to see the email. I can also send you that if you want to see the uh, email that he sent.
Yes, I'd like to see that.
Yep. Give me a moment. I just have to go through my emails very quickly.
That is fine. In the meantime, Mr. Anderson, if you would like to explain your perspective on this situation, I would appreciate that.
My, that was me.
Hmm?
Was that towards me?
Yes, I'm asking you to explain your side of this story.
Honestly, I don't know what to say. I'm not harassing anybody. I don't harass people. I am
Well, we're not talking about harassing people. We're talking about harassing Miss Godstone. Has there been any indication? Has anybody else said that you've been harassing this woman? Has there been, what things have you said to her? What things is she saying that you think is untrue?
the one thing that was said, and my character witness just showed up. Uh, my third character witness.
That's
Sorry.
fine. That's fine.
Um, what set this off, I believe, was I was talking with her at uh at the hospital when she was getting hired, and Monkey was here. I believe he's in the courtroom.
Yep, I see him back there.
Um, Monkey was there, and he was being annoying, but he was being annoying joking around.
What kind of joking around was he doing?
Uh, he was just he wanted a med kit. He was going gimme, 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 gimme
Oh, so he's pestering you, just,
to give him a med kit.
okay.
And I found it funny and annoying at the same time. I knew he was joking. So I said joking around, um, you can be as annoying as her sometimes. I was joking around and she took it the wrong way. I didn't mean it harassment. I didn't mean it in
Your
disarray
Honor,
or
he's
anything.
Miss Godstone, let him speak.
I mean, I invited her to the city because the city that she was in, we were previously in it over a year ago. I got an email from her, apologizing for previous previous actions. Said that she was praising me as a friend, that I stuck around. She was praising that I invited her to the city. I invited her here because everybody is respectful. They're all nice. Um, and then this happens, and I'm getting accusations put against me, and I am not that person.
Your Honor, may
Uh,
I say something?
Uh, just a moment, Miss Godstone. Is there anything else you want to add, Mr. Anderson?
um, I no, no, I think that's uh, I think that's the whole story there.
Okay. Do you have, are you able to,
The
sorry,
dog thing.
Mr.
It was
Anderson,
my emotional. Oh, sorry.
are you able to send me, what you claim that was sent to you over email from Miss Godstone?
Your Honor,
From the
that was a
22nd.
personal matter. That was a personal matter. That wasn't a city matter. Let me make that clear. That thank you was definitely a personal matter of something that happened to me and why I left my old city. The one that I didn't need brought up, but thank you for bringing up that. Very much appreciated. Fucking
So you're
prick.
slandering my name. You're trying to slander my name,
Miss,
and
Mr.
Not
Mr. Anderson,
slandering you, Eric. I want you to leave me the fuck alone.
I want to.
let's calm down. Don't speak over each other. Do not talk to each other. Okay? Just
All right, Your
talk
Honor.
to me. Talk to me.
Your Honor, I can I send you an email with regarding what that email that he's talking about was over? So I don't want that brought in court, please. That is a very, very personal matter.
So, what I will do, I'll read the current one that you sent to me. I will read it, and if you want to, you can send that to me as well.
Yep.
Judge Nolan's. What's your email?
My email should be Judge Nolan's in the Discordia, the main Discordia. I'm under government. Let me go ahead and look at this. Once we go over the evidence, we can move on to the witnesses.
Also, Your Honor, about the the annoying part. That wasn't the part I had an issue with. I do have body cam footage
talk
from
to
that
him,
day.
mate.
It was
I'll
the
talk
fact
to
that
him.
he then walked outside and then in a subjective matter turned around in front of my colleague and went, no, but you know, we both know you're annoying. And I was just like, no, it's one thing to joke about it, and I can take a joke, but it's another thing to try confirm what you said and confirm what you say in a joking matter. This is something I will not tolerate myself. Not only that, he, as I say, he only shows up to work when I'm there,
I work
and I have witnesses
there.
for that.
Do not speak to each other. Do not speak to each other.
And I'm pretty sure if you wanted to email the owner of the pizza place, they could give the harassment suit they have received, and not by myself. It was by a third party that he keeps coming into the workplace. He doesn't buy anything. He doesn't work. He just comes in to check in.
That includes for support
Try cause
animals.
an issue, and
I
then
already
leave.
said Eric says
as soon as he doesn't get the
obviously
reaction
it should
he
be allowed,
wants.
like with his.
So, Mr. Anderson, so since this seems to be relevant, since it was just you and Miss Godstone in Pizza This, were you just there to get food, or what was your reason for being there?
My reason being there was the same reason as I go to Los Santos Customs to see. I go there to see Mr. Antonio. I go to a hospital to see Wonton. I go to Pizza This to see who was my friend, Michaela Godstone. I go all over the place, all over the city, because everybody is my friend. I don't make enemies. I don't try to make enemies.
Bite your tongue, breathe, calm down.
So,
Don't react.
okay, so your purpose there was just to see Michaela, but it seemed that there was an issue with an animal being within the restaurant.
Yes, we have a no pet policy, Your Honor.
I bought a husky, and I wanted to show my friend my husky. She barked at me as soon as I got in that I cannot
No.
have a dog in there.
Your Honor, we're a food establishment. We don't allow dogs, and I turned around and told him that he can leave his dog outside because it is a pet-free policy. He then proceeded to tell me later on, after it was confirmed that we are a zero pet policy, and that includes any support animals because we are a food establishment only, that they can bring the dogs in because we don't want fur in the pizza. You know, I don't think you want to take a bite of pizza with a husky fur.
Your Honor, I spoke to Dean Daniels, the owner of the establishment, and he said that cannot bring a dog in there. So, oh, 1 second, I gotta move for a second.
Hey, Your Honor.
Sorry about that.
Your Honor.
Yes.
I spoke to
Mrs.
Dean Daniels
Twan's gonna
about
be
it,
back. I just got over that.
He
She
said
just
that
went
that
for
I
a second.
cannot have my
That's
dog
fine.
inside, but I
That's
can
fine,
have
thank
my
you.
dog on the patio. She in turn also ran my dog over.
So,
Killed it.
Listen.
so Mr. Anderson, that is entirely different situation.
know.
In this case, we're speaking about. So, okay, let's move on to the character witnesses. Let's move on. Ms. Godstone, you can bring up any one of your character witnesses or witnesses to any
I'll
harassment
bring
that you claim.
I will bring up Lexi.
Okay.
Lexi, come here, lovely.
Lexi, you can step up.
Sorry. Excuse me. Do I go up to
You can
the-
step up to the you can step up to the podium.
Okay.
So, can you explain to me your witnessings or any sort of positive things that you could probably say about Miss Godstone? Anything that is involving this case?
Well, to be honest, her and Dean being the first two people I meet in the city, they've been very welcoming, and she's been teaching me basically everything I need to know. If I need help, she helps me immediately. She doesn't make fun of me for not knowing anything. She definitely comes to my assistance if I need help. Just the other day, my bike was stolen, and I told her that I finally got it back and I needed to go to impound, and she was right there, gave me a ride. Basically, just been my best friend since I got here.
Do you know anything in regards to the harassment at all? Anything that you've witnessed? Have you been in the same room as when Mr. Anderson and Miss Godstone were in? Or no?
A few times, I think mainly two that I remember. The first time I met, he made this comment that she gave Dean hell all the time or something like that. And I mean, I kind of got they joked around, but it didn't seem necessarily that, oh, yeah, they're just friends. It seemed as if he was kind of saying that, yeah, she just bothers people. So I kind of laughed that off. That might have been a misunderstanding there, but that's kind of the vibe I got. And then just today, earlier at the White Widow, we didn't quite know that he was there, but we were just chatting at the desk, and he comes up. I think he was down in the grow room. He lets us know that he did his work in the grow room, and I told him thank you, and I was talking to uh, Michaela about the work that I might have to get done, and she lets him or doesn't really speak to him, but tells to me that she's recording because he walked up and they're thing they've got where she records all the stuff just to be safe. And he goes, I know, kind of in like a annoyed manner, like like he doesn't have to be reminded, but he still talked to her. He could have just told us that he did his stuff and moved on, but instead he stuck around. And when I was going to check this, the stash to make sure all my stuff was filled, I heard him talk to her. She was like, "Look, just leave me alone. I told you I don't want to interact. Put her hands up, did the whole, I'm walking away, and she left. I got what I needed, and followed her because we were gonna go to Pizza This so she can teach me because I just got hired on and to help out, and so we left. But as I was leaving, she had already walked out the door. And I was walking around the counter, and because he was upset she wouldn't talk to him, he stated, I'm gonna report this. And then I just said, you do what you gotta do. She told you what she needed. She needed you to leave her alone, so you should just go away. And then that was when I got out the door. But I don't know if her body cam footage will have exactly what he said to me because she was gone when he spoke.
Mm,
And I
okay.
unfortunately don't have a body cam yet. I'm working on that though. It might take me a while.
Okay. Is that everything?
Everything that I can recollect. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to add, or nothing else?
Not that I think really pertains to the case.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Miss Godstone, do you have another person?
Yeah, I'm gonna call Antonio up as well.
Antonio, please come forward.
I object on that. Is that
What
right?
you what's the problem, Mr. Anderson?
Can can't have the same character witness on
Uh,
for
I'm
both
sorry, Your
sides.
Honor. I'm sorry, Your Honor. Antonio's my friend, not my boss. But Antonio's also a witness to him only turning up to work at the weed shop when I have been around. And he stated that to you while I was talking to you about a restraining order, if you do not remember. I just want him to say that under oath.
Here, actually, Mr. Ponyo, please come forward. I actually want to ask you a question. So, answer me this. Were you asked by both parties to be a character witness for them?
Yes.
Did you plan on being a character witness for both of them?
Not when they're both asking me now.
Did you choose which one you'd want to be a character witness for?
As I stated to you personally, I'd rather not when they're both asking me for the same thing.
Would you say that you would be more neutral in the matter and stay out of it?
I'm pretty unbiased in the matter. I just speak from what I've seen.
Can you speak on what you've seen?
Yeah. So initially, when I met Eric, he's a taxi driver, and I picked him up and I hired him as my personal driver. He's been very diligent in his work. He's never been disrespectful, never done any weird stuff. And once Michaela started flying in city, I'd see them always together. I didn't think anything weird of it. That's probably why I always see them put together at the weed shop when I see them there. So it's very weird to me that they're both in this situation when they seem to me that they both got along pretty well. And I've never seen either of them be disrespectful.
Is there anything else you want to add?
So pretty much it's from my point of view. I did not expect a situation like this to unfold between either of them.
It's an interesting turn of events. But if that's everything, you can take a seat. Thank you. Miss Godstone, do you have anybody else?
No.
Okay. Mr. Anderson, I know that you have a couple character witnesses.
I'd like to call Wonton up.
Okay. Come up to the podium. Also, if Tsunami comes quickly, we'll reconvene at the court. We can consider that as a recess.
All right.
All right. Go ahead.
Well, I didn't even know this was happening until like 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago.
So I'm gonna stop you right there. So, what do you know? What do you know about this situation so far? Who has explained what is going on to you?
I mean, all I know is that this might have started about one of the jokes Eric's said to Michaela.
Do you know which joke in particular?
That she was annoying.
Mm-hmm. Has he said it more than once, or was that the only time?
It was the only time. I mean, when I'm with Eric, I'm not really with Michaela. It was just that one time where Michaela was applying for EMS and I was trying to train her.
Did Mr. Anderson at any point make any comments about why she shouldn't be hired or anything along the relation of you shouldn't be hiring her at all?
No, he never told me not to hire her.
Okay. Did he tell anybody else that you know of?
No.
Okay.
Your Honor.
Yes, Miss Godstone?
He didn't straight out say it, but he implied it, and I do have the body footage of that because Missy here, she told us to both shut up, pretty much. So
If you
yeah, I
want,
do have the body footage
okay. If you're
of
able
that
to,
conversation.
yeah. If you can send that to me, I'd like to take a look at that.
That is completely fine.
Go ahead, Miss Wonton.
I mean,
mhm.
even before that, I was training Michaela, and then Eric came, and I was just going through the motions, like showing her everything. And then he makes a joke. I believe I was in head when he made that joke, so I came back and I saw the body cam. When I came back, we were outside, and then she was in the corner by herself for a little, while Eric and one other were just chatting. And I was like, "Oh, what's up with her?"
Excuse me,
And
Your
then
Honor.
they had a little argument.
Your Honor, I'd already told him to leave me alone for 5 minutes, and I stepped to the side while I had a 5-minute break in order to calm my nerves. I was under a lot of stress, and then he literally started shouting if I'm talking, like no one can hear me, and I was just like, "Look, I've asked you to leave me alone. Like, please do so."
So, I'll be looking over this during our brief recess with the tsunami. So,
Your Honor, would you like the body cam footage of the annoying part? Like he joked about it, but then confirmed it to the colleague in the hallway when Miss wasn't here. But she also saw that on body footage as well.
Yeah, you can send that to me as
Which
well.
she left out.
After she said to Eric to leave her alone, that's when I told both of them.
Oh. Okay, we can reconvene now, and we can continue. All right. So, is Miss Wonton still in her head?
I think so, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Anderson, did you have somebody else that you wanted to call?
I'd like to call Fox.
Okay. All right. You may come up to the podium here. Oh. All right, you may tell me your side of this and what, any good things about Mr. Anderson that you want to say at this point in time. I'm all ears.
I don't know them both well enough to say much, but what I know so far about Eric is he's always been nice to me. So hearing what's happening right now kind of blows my mind because he's always been nice and friendly and a good person. I've never seen him being mean to anyone, ever.
How long have you known him?
Like, week, 2 weeks, maybe more.
Week and 2 weeks. Okay. Was he one of the first people you met?
No, definitely not, no.
Okay. What was he working as when you first met him? Was he EMS? Was he mechanic? Was he...
He was a femurs driver.
Okay. Now, out of curiosity, for my sake, do you have anything to say about Miss Godstone? Do you know her that well? Do you have anything positive to say about her?
Negative. Do you need assistance?
I don't know her well enough to say much.
Okay.
But when I've seen her with Eric, they're being like pretty close. It doesn't look like there's anything in between them, like, I don't know, it just blows my mind still.
Some things like these can happen pretty suddenly, without notice, and sometimes you have to roll through the punches, I think, even as bad as they can be. But is there anything else you want to add?
No, not really.
Okay, well, thank you so much. You can take a seat.
Anna, can I just say, the first day maybe, yeah, I did hang around with Eric, because obviously he tried showing me the ropes, but then he introduced me to Dean, and then I was always around Dean, and if Dean was here today, he could actually state that himself, but sadly he's got some personal matters to deal with, so he's not flying in. He won't fly in till really late. But if you do want a character witness, I don't see them being an issue with emailing them, but that's on your discretion alone.
I think the only person that I think I'll need left is the rest of what Miss Wonton has to say, and then I think I'm ready to make a decision after that. Now, I just want to go through step by step with the both of you about your history between each other, the relationship you had, because you two were friends once, right?
Yes and no, Your Honor.
Yes and no. Okay.
No,
why yes and no?
The last city, he was actually getting done also for harassment. I thought the year apart, the year that we have had no contact with, that would have been okay. So I decided to give it that chance to fresh starts, bygones be bygones. I do have proof in the last city that he was harassing me. He actually took it to the point that he used to sit outside my workplace in his yellow taxi car.
So
But that was in the last city, is why I didn't bring it up here.
Right, which is irrelevant. And but I just want to know. So you said yes and no. I mean, what are the yes parts of?
The yes part. So I reached out to Mr. Anderson when I wanted to go back to my old city. I wanted to see my people, and he told me to come to this city, and this is where I come. He then introduced me to Dean, and I have been at Dean's side pretty much the entire time, or have been on my own in the pizza place. This I do have body cam footage for. I always have my body cam on, so I can always detest me being around him 24/7. The only time I'm around him is when he comes into my workplace or to where I am, just to check in. And obviously, if I'm working, I am going to be friendly. I'm going to be candid. I'm going to be like, do you need anything? No, I've come to check in. Okay, no worries. But, please leave whatever, standard courtesy. But even then, he's on duty as an EMS and then has to shoot off pretty much normally. But it all started when he started making backhanded comments, and I don't tone for it anymore. Like, I'm not being funny. I've asked him to stop. I've asked him to leave me alone. I don't care how many character witnesses he's got. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I'm just saying he's not respecting my boundaries to leave me alone. And this is why I'm here. I just want him to
Honor,
leave me
For
alone.
the record,
And Dean,
One second, Mr. Anderson.
the person who owns the pizza place has actually considered firing him just for not working alone. He got 20 grand to keep working there, to keep on top of. But he's the one that wants to work.
We're getting a little bit carried away. So, but I understand what you're saying. Mr. Anderson, you had something to say?
well, I'm flabbergasted on the work part.
Oh,
Why would I
duh.
show up there when this is going on?
Don't be flabbergasted, Mr. Anderson. Just tell me your perspective on your relationship with Miss Godstone in the past.
I met her in another city, year ago, over a year ago, actually. I was, yeah, it was probably a year and a half, 2 years ago. Met her in that city. I stopped flying into any cities after a while because of head stuff. And as I recall, I believe Miss Godstone also did the same for head stuff. We won't go into that though. And then I got a message back from her saying, "Are you still flying into cities?" I'm flying back in. I said, "Yes, I am, but I'm not in that city anymore because that city, which will be remain nameless, is, in my words, broken. So come over to this city. There's a lot of people that are very nice and they're very respectful. Come over to this city." I invited her. I thought I got that nice message saying sorry for everything. You read that, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I did.
All right. I don't want to recite the whole thing because Miss Godstone's wishes did not be said out loud. But it was very heartfelt, and I liked it. It meant a lot to me. And then all of a sudden I get this happening, and the only thing I said was that I called somebody annoying. Is that a crime? Somebody that can be annoying sometimes. Can't we all be annoying sometimes?
Right. But in this case, this is more civil, this is not criminal at all. This is just a dispute between two people that just seem that they can't get along with each other. And
I have no problem with her.
mhm.
Now I go by the pizza place because like I said prior to the storm, I go by because she was a quote unquote friend. I don't know now. Now it's no. If if it's a no, whatever. It's a big enough city. We can pass by each other. We don't have to have turmoil and have court cases. That granted, this is kind of fun in a way, but it's not an experience I want to repeat. If you get my drift.
Mm-hmm.
I'm rambling.
No, you're fine. Is that all you got to say about that?
Your Honor, can I just say?
I'm sorry. I just want to say on record, I'm sorry, Michaela, if you felt any bad blood between us from my part.
Your Honor,
I did not mean anything bad by anything.
Miss,
May I just
Miss,
to you?
not right now, Miss Godstone. I do at least want to hear from Miss Wonton if she has anything else she wants to say. And then you can say your piece after.
Okay, one, I apologize for going in head for so long.
No, you're fine. I was able to fill the time.
I don't really have much to add on,
Mm-hmm.
except, I'm not really close with Miss Godstone, but I am with Mr. Anderson, and I can say that he's a very nice person. I don't really see him as somebody that's violent, aggressive. Uh, you know,
Mm-hmm.
he does good at his jobs. He's, he's awesome, like.
Would you say,
But,
so I'm going to go back to the joking part that you mentioned previously. So would you say in a way that the way that he jokes, would you say that some people could take that as a different way, possibly? Could misconstrue it as something different based off what he says? Even though
I
he
mean,
means it
that was
as,
the first
he means
time
it one's
that-
way, and then they, take it as a different way.
No, yeah, at least for me, that was the first time that he's made that kind of joke.
First time? Okay. And how long have you known him?
A month now?
A month. Okay. He's never made any jokes like that towards you?
No.
Anybody else that you know that's been around you with him
Not
and
that I know
present?
of.
Not that you know of? Okay. All right. Do you have anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay. You can take a seat. Miss Godstone, there was something you wanted to say?
Yeah, as I say, like I'm not saying he's a bad guy. Like at the end of the day, she just said it herself. He doesn't joke like that with anyone, but he reminds me and belittles me how much of a handful I am. He turned around to my partner and said that I was a handful. Like he doesn't know how he copes. And it's backhanded comments like that. It's directed to me and directed to the person I am for being who I am. Now I run like pizza shop. Like Dean's never there, like unless obviously he's there with me. But I've never had an issue with any of my customers. Everyone leaves with a smile. They always give me they always leave a tip because they like to leave with a laugh and a smile. But this person just wants to belittle and remind me of how much that I should hate myself, that how much of annoying handful, and it's not comments that needs to be said. I don't believe you would go to your friends and remind them of how much of a handful every time you see them every day, and I don't expect it from my so-called friends. That's why I say yes and no, because I would have liked to have thought we was friends. But then he started making the backhand comments. I told him to leave me alone, and then he just shows up.
All right. Well, I think I've heard enough from both parties. I've heard from Miss Godstone. I've heard from Mr. Anderson. I've heard from all the character witnesses from both parties as well as I guess you can consider a neutral party, Mr. Ponyo. Oh, someone hit a fire hydrant outside. We let the drivers of this fine city. Anyway, so considering all that I've heard, all that I've seen, read, everything, my decision is, I don't think in this case I will grant a restraining order because I think it's as simple as this. You two seem to either be one of two things. One, you just, there's no friendship, no connection anymore, and you should just stay away from each other. You two have pretty much demolished anything that you had in your past, and it doesn't seem that anything can be rekindled from it. Or two, you are exactly made for each other based off how you bicker with each other, and despite the fact that you bicker as much as you do, deep down you still have some kind of connection, whether or not you feel as if you don't. In my opinion, I think that nothing can be resolved from this action between the two of you, and I think that the best course of action from my decision is that you stay as far away from each other as possible, that even if you see each other, to avoid each other, not to speak to each other at all. And if at any point in time that you see each other and one decides to interact with the other, either get away from them, or if it gets to a point where you can't handle the situation, call the police on them. Because in this case, with restraining orders comes the prevalence of a threat of danger, any form of violence that could happen between one party and the other, because what I've heard so far, it doesn't seem as if Miss Godstone's life's in danger or Mr. Anderson's life's in danger. I have not heard at any point in time. It seems to me that it's just petty arguing and just disagreements among both parties. So I think the best course of action from this court is for you to just permanently cut communication off between each other. Do not message each other. Do not email each other. Do not do anything to each other. Block each other if you have to.
I have, Your Honor. That's the point. That's why I'm here.
I know that's why you're here. But
He just doesn't want to let it.
but I think these
Go to every single one of my jobs and you get them.
but I think in this
Really? Is this what it's
d-
about? You tell me when I come here to
d-
apply for
d-
EMS.
Miss Godstone, Mr. Anderson, please. This is what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about. You two cannot be even in the same room, even when you're in a court of law, without having to yell at each other and talk to each other when I've told you numerous times to speak to me and only me. So I think, like I said, the best course of action is just to stay away from each other. Just stay away. I can't really do much in this case in terms of the restraining order because this is just pettiness. That's all that it is, in my opinion. And I think that I think sometimes time heals all wounds, and maybe sometime in the future, hopefully for the both of your sakes, that you can rekindle something, maybe not a complete friendship, but at least an acquaintanceship between each other. Because I hope to not have to deal with this again, because the courts don't deal with petty arguments and petty relationships that just end in bickering. Have I made myself clear between the both of you? Because if I hear something else again about the two of you having to come to court for something petty, I will explain the same thing to you, or I will just outright deny it. Because it has to be with merit. It has to be with the intention of one person threatening the other, or in some form being in danger of another person.
Your Honor, you have my word. I'll keep everything professional with Miss Godstone.
Mr. Anderson, I hope for your sake that I don't hear anything about you anymore towards Miss Godstone, and Miss Godstone, I hope I don't hear anything else from Mr. Anderson towards you, okay?
But
Make it clear, cut and dry, and just
we're both in
drop it. Do not even talk about one another. Don't even do it. Don't even think about them. Don't even talk about them. It makes life so much easier if you just forget about them. Even if they're in the same room right now, I think it helps you better to just forget about them. Because the friendship is over, there's no need for it to continue. There's no need for it to talk about it anymore. It's dead, it's gone, it's cut. So that is my decision. That is my explanation to you. If you can't accept that, then I'm sorry. I just don't think that it's in the best interest for the courts and for the police to be the ones to issue or to serve a restraining order on either one of you just because you two dislike each other. I think that's a waste of our resources.
For the record, I didn't want to be here today.
Well, I mean, are you glad that you're here so that way we can at least resolve this in some way? Because I could have done this with just her, but I don't think that would have gotten anywhere because, you would have been served with papers, and I don't know how that would have turned out, but I think having you here made it even better because maybe both of you could have some closure in this. And you have people that like you. You have people on both sides that like you, or at least an acquaintance to you. So at least you have people that do care about you. And if you can't care for each other, then that's just how life is. And there's nothing else to it. Just some people just can't get along. And sometimes friendships happen and then they just wilter away. So before you leave here, is there anything else you want to say before anything? Any final words? Anybody wants? Miss Godstone, you have anything else you want to say, Mr. Anderson?
I'm sorry it didn't work out.
All right. Well, you have a wonderful rest of your evening, everybody. And I'm glad that we could have this. I hope you got some closure from it.